My name is Robert James Callahan. Everyone who's ever mattered to me calls me Bobby. I'm 60 years old, born in the back bedroom of a cinder block house on Farm Street in Bastrop, Texas, during a thunderstorm so loud my mama swore it was God announcing my arrival. My daddy, Ray Callahan, drove a garbage truck for the city of Bastrop for 39 years and was prouder of that than most men are of a Harvard degree. My mama, Betty June, cleaned offices at night and still managed to have hot biscuits, sawmill gravy, and a smile on the table every morning before school. We never had two nickels to rub together, but we had love, and at Bastrop in the 1970s, that was enough. I left home at 18 with a scholarship to Texas State, a duffel bag of Wranglers, and a promise to my daddy that I'd make something of myself so nobody ever has to pick up my trash again. I paid the rest of my way through college wiring pump jacks in the oil fields outside of Midland in 115-degree heat that would cook an egg on a toolbox lid. By the time I was 35, I had started a tiny payment processing software company in a one-room office above a barbecue joint on 6th Street in Austin. Nobody thought it would amount to anything. In 2019, a venture capital firm from San Francisco thought differently. They wrote a check for $187 million, and I walked out of the bank with a wire confirmation that felt like a fever dream. I bought a 2,200-acre ranch outside Lockhart, paid cash for it, and never changed a thing about how I lived. Still drive the same 2009 Silverado with 187,000 miles and a crack in the windshield shaped like Texas. Still dip wintergreen skull when I'm fishing on Lake Travis. Still say yes ma'am and no sir. The only thing the money changed was my only child, Mason Robert Callahan. Mason was born screaming on June 12, 1995 at Seton Hospital in Austin. His mama, Claire Elizabeth, died of a brain aneurysm when he was 4 years old. One minute she was laughing at him trying to eat spaghetti with his hands, the next she was gone. It was just him and me after that. I learned how to French braid hair off early YouTube tutorials, how to sew a Halloween costume with dental floss when the thread ran out, how to sit through every episode of SpongeBob without losing my religion. I worked 80-hour weeks and still made it to every T-ball game, every school play, every parent-teacher conference. When Mason was 12, he discovered YouTube. By 14, he had a gaming channel with 50,000 subscribers. By 17, he was pulling in more from AdSense every month than I paid my ranch foreman. I never once told him to get a real job. Hell, my boy figured out how to make a living in pajama pants before he could legally vote. That's American ingenuity right there. In 2019, he met Everly Gray at Playlist Live in Orlando. She was 22, spoke in soft lowercase letters, had cheekbones that could cut glass, and already had 1.8 million followers for posting pictures of oat milk lattes and vintage Rolexes. 6 months later, they were engaged. 8 months after that, they got married in a field of bluebonnets outside Dripping Springs with 1.8 million people watching the live stream. I paid for the whole thing. The $180,000 floral arch, the $42,000 wedding gown that looked like a cloud had a baby with a wedding dress, the private concert by some singer I'd never heard of. I didn't care. My boy was happy. That's when they found the house. 4119 Seneca Ridge Drive, Austin, Texas 78733. 6,200 square feet of blackened steel, white oak floors, floor-to-ceiling windows looking west over the Balcones, Canyonlands Preserve. Liz price, $5.65 million. They came to the ranch one Sunday with renderings, mood boards, and a cream-colored card that had a single number written on it in Everly's perfect handwriting. $12,000 a month. Daddy, Mason said, pulling out the big guns with the word he hadn't used since he was 9. This house is the next level for the brand. We can't grow if we stay in the 1,800-square-foot condo downtown. The light in this house, it's life-changing. Everly sat beside him in a cream silk camisole that probably cost more than my first truck, nodding like one of those dashboard hula dancers. I looked at the number. 12 grand a month was less than I spend on diesel for the boat some months. I signed the Zelle recurring transfer that day. Not a loan, not an investment, just love. Every first of the month for 5 straight years, a payment left my account labeled Household, Mason, and landed in theirs. $720,000 total. I never asked for a thank you reel. I never asked to be tagged. I never asked for anything except to be treated like Mason's dad instead of a monthly subscription box. For the first couple of years, it was beautiful. I'd drive up on Sundays with a cooler full of brisket from Cruise Market, and we'd eat on paper plates in the garage because the kitchen island was perpetually being used for a sponsored flat lay of $800 diptyque candles. I'd sit on a stool while Mason edited videos and Everly answered brand emails. Sometimes they'd let me hold the reflector. Sometimes they'd film a day in the life, and I'd be the blurry figure in the background hauling Whataburger bags like the world's most overqualified delivery driver. I didn't mind. I was proud. Then came the slow fade. It started small. Mason stopped calling me Dad on camera and started calling me Bobby. Everly started introducing me to her manager as Mason's investor. My red flannel started disappearing from family photos because it pulled focus from the color story. Grandma Callahan's sequin reindeer sweater was outright banned from the frame. My muddy Ariat boots were no longer allowed past the mudroom because they tracked the energy of the house. I told myself it was just branding. Kids these days, whatever. Then came Christmas 2024. They flew me in commercial for the first time in 5 years because the NetJets share was at maintenance. I landed at Austin Bergstrom wearing starched Wranglers, Ariat boots, and the same Longhorns cap I've had since 2008. Mason hugged me at baggage claim, but I caught Everly side-eyeing my boots like I'd tracked cow manure across her entire mental beige mood board. The 2 days leading up to Christmas were a blur of content creation. I was up at 5 a.m. hanging outdoor lights with a crew of 6, while Everly filmed sunrise content in a $4,000 alpaca coat from the Row. I ate breakfast burritos in the garage with the lighting guys because the kitchen island was being used for a sponsored unboxing of $1,200 cashmere throws from Barefoot Dreams. I fixed the garbage disposal when it jammed on quinoa, twice. I rehung a 12-foot flocked Fraser fur after the base cracked because Everly needed it exactly 2 inches to the left for symmetry. Christmas Eve, we all gathered for the official gray Callaway family Christmas card photo. There were 12 living beings in that room. Mason and Everly, Everly's parents, Dr. Kenneth Gray, oral surgeon, and Dr. Lillian Gray, dermatologist from Westlake Hills, Everly's younger sister Aspen and her fiancé Trip, my mama, Betty June Callahan, 87 years young, wearing her sequined reindeer sweater she's had since 1998, the 2 cream-colored Labradoodles, Biscuit and Brioche, wearing hand-knit antler headbands that cost more than my first saddle, and me, in a red flannel because it was Christmas, damn it. The photographer was a 29-year-old from Silver Lake named Ocean, yes, that was his legal name, who charged $25,000 a day plus per diem and a private driver. He took roughly 200 frames. I mean maybe 30 of them, standing in the back like the world's tallest garden gnome. At 8:02 p.m. on December 24th, 2024, the card dropped. I was sitting on the guest room couch in my socks, scrolling Instagram when the notification hit. The photo they chose showed the 8 humans and 2 dogs in perfect symmetrical formation under the flock tree. Everyone in shades of cream, oatmeal, ivory, and taupe. Not a hint of red flannel, not a single sequined reindeer in sight. The caption read, "Merry Christmas from our perfectly curated family to yours. Grateful for another year of elevated energy, intentional living, and aesthetic harmony. Here's to releasing anything and anyone that no longer matches our frequency in 2025.
SHWHITE, hashtag Grey Calloway Christmas, hashtag Quiet Luxury, hashtag Intentional Living.
I stared at my phone for a long time. Long enough for the screen to go black. Long enough to feel something inside me shift from disappointment to absolute clarity. Then I walked downstairs. Mason was on the cream boucle sofa editing the YouTube thumbnail on his 49-inch ultra-wide monitor. Everly was live on Instagram, responding to comments about her cream cashmere skirt set from The Row. Me. Y'all cropped me and Mama clean out of the Christmas card. Mason didn't even look up from his screen. Dad, the color palette was planned for 9 months. Red flannel and sequins throw off the entire mood board. We talked about this. Everly, still staring at her phone. It's nothing personal, Bobby. It's aesthetic coherence. You understand branding. We can put you and Grandma in the behind-the-scenes reel tomorrow if you want. It'll humanize the brand. I stood there in my socks for maybe 10 full seconds. Nobody looked up. Nobody paused. The ring light in the corner kept humming like nothing had happened. So I said the only thing that felt honest. Okay. Then I walked upstairs, opened my Chase app, and canceled the $12,000 recurring transfer that was scheduled to post in 3 days. I didn't yell. I didn't slam doors. I didn't threaten. I just unsubscribed. Then I texted Kelly McNamara, the only real estate agent in Austin who can move 9-figure deals before most people finish their coffee. Me, 9:31 p.m. Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas, Kel. Find me the exact same floor plan as 4119 Seneca Ridge. I want the lot directly next door if it exists. Money is no object. Call me when you wake up. Kelly, 9:40 p.m. Bobby Callahan, are you drunk on Christmas Eve? Me, stone cold sober. Call me. Kelly, 9:47 p.m. 421 Seneca Ridge, mirror image plan. Same builder, Upright Homes, 2021 build. 0.92 acre lot versus their 0.88. Owner is Miami Dolphins CB Jalen Ramsey's ex-wife, divorce fire sale. Listed at 4.65, they'll take 4.1 million cash, close in 10 days or less. You sure? Me. Wire Ernest tonight. I'll be in your office 8 a.m. the 26th. December 26th, 7:04 a.m. I was drinking black coffee on the back porch in the same red flannel when Mason came barreling outside, holding his phone like it was a live grenade. Dad, the December household payment bounced. Everly's freaking out. The cleaning crew is coming today, the landscapers tomorrow, and we're short. Can you just resend it, please? I sipped my coffee. No. He laughed that nervous influencer laugh he does when the brand email goes south. Come on, Dad. It's Boxing Day. We have 6 figures in sponsorship money hitting on the 1st. Just flaunt us till then. You've got 4.1 million followers on Instagram. I'm sure one of them will Venmo you 12 grand for a lock of Brioche's tail. His face changed. The curated mask slipped completely. What is this about? The Christmas card? Are you seriously doing this over a photo? Son, I'm not doing anything over a photo. I'm doing it over 5 years of being treated like the guy who wires the light bill instead of your father. You wanted a family that matched your frequency? Congratulations, you've got one. Everly appeared in the doorway, wearing a $3,200 cream merino wool sweater, AirPods still in, phone clutched like a life raft. Bobby, we still have the raw files. There's one where you're slightly out of focus in the back left. We can Photoshop the flannel to oatmeal and grandma sweater to ivory. Crisis averted. Everyone wins. I set my mug down very carefully on the teak table. Everly, in 5 years, I have sent you $720,000.
I have never once asked to be tagged, thanked, or included in a single frame. All I asked was to be treated like Mason's dad, instead of a monthly subscription box you can cancel when the aesthetic changes. You released me from your frequency on Christmas Eve in front of 4 million people. So I'm releasing you from mine.
I walked inside, came back with a manila folder, and slid the fully executed purchase contract across the quartz island. Closing is January 4th. I just bought the house next door. Same floor plan, same view, same everything. Only difference is I'll be living in it. And since I know how much y'all value aesthetic coherence, I went ahead and ordered a 40-foot programmable LED sign for the front yard. It's going to say, Real Family Christmas, Flannel Welcome, in red and green. Should be visible from your primary bedroom, your kitchen island, and your entire comment section. Everly actually dropped her phone. It clattered on the white oak like a gunshot in church. You're joking. I've never been more serious about anything in my life. Mason started yelling, Everly started crying, the Labradoodles started barking, the ring light in the corner flickered like it was having an existential crisis. I left that afternoon. Drove back to the ranch in my Silverado with the windows down and George Strait cranked so loud the cows turned their heads. I turned my phone completely off for 3 straight days. When I turned it back on December 29th, I had 412 missed calls, 118 text messages, 47 DMs on Instagram. My account has 38 followers, mostly cousins, and 1 viral TikTok that already had 18 million views and climbing. The video was titled, Addressing the Family Drama, The Truth About Toxic Financial Enmeshment, and it was 12 minutes and 37 seconds of Mason and Everly sitting on their cream boucle sofa, eyes artfully red, voices trembling in that practiced influencer way. Mason, we love my dad very much, but sometimes when one family member has significantly more financial power than the rest, it can create unhealthy boundaries and expectations around gratitude and inclusion. Everly, dabbing her eyes with a $400 linen handkerchief from Matuk. We're just asking for space to grow into the next version of ourselves without the weight of past financial dynamics holding us back.
The comments were an absolute bloodbath. Imagine crying poverty while sitting in a $6 million house your dad bought. Flannel Dad deserves a Medal of Honor for not burning that beige prison to the ground. Hashtag Justice for Bobby is the only trend that matters right now. This is the most Texas revenge story I've ever seen, and I'm here for it. Within 48 hours, 3 major sponsorships had publicly pulled out. A Le Creuset cookware campaign, a luxury candle brand valued at $3.2 million, and a skincare line that released a statement about brand misalignment with authentic family values. January 4th, 2025, I closed on 4121 Seneca Ridge Drive. Wire hit at 9:17 a.m., $4.4 million cash. No financing, no inspection, no regrets. January 5th, I listed the house on Airbnb, VRBO, and Booking.com under the name The Anti-Influencer Estate, No Beige Allowed. The description I wrote myself at 2 a.m. with a Shinerbach in hand. Welcome to the uncurated experience. Flannel sheets on every bed, real Christmas trees that drop needles and smell like actual pine, a 30-quart gumbo pot on the stove at all times, 0 ring lights, 100% dad jokes. Bring your muddy boots, your loud uncles, your grandma's sequin reindeer sweater, and your dog that actually sheds. This is a safe space for people who believe love isn't a color palette. $2,800 per night, no influencers, no mood boards, no oat milk lattes required. It booked solid through August before lunchtime. January 15th, Mason showed up at the ranch unannounced. No Everly. Driving a 2013 Tacoma with paper tags and a dented fender. He looked like he hadn't slept in a week. His hair wasn't artfully tousled, it was just messy. He was wearing a hoodie from his senior year of high school that had a hole in the left sleeve. Mason. Can I come in? We sat on the porch swing my daddy built in 1978. Mason stared at his boots for a long time. Mason. We're broke, Dad. Me.
The mortgage is $28,400 a month. We don't have it. Everly's manager dropped her yesterday. My YouTube CPM is in the toilet. The bank called about foreclosure proceedings. We're 90 days from losing everything. I didn't say anything. She wants to move to Dallas to live with her parents until we rebrand. She's already talking to lawyers about coming back as a solo influencer, without me. He started crying. Not the pretty influencer kind with one perfect tear, the ugly, snot-nosed, shoulder-shaking kind I hadn't seen since his mama's funeral. I don't want to lose the house. I don't want to lose you. You never had the house, son. You had the illusion of it. And you lost me the day you decided I didn't match the aesthetic. He cried harder. What do I have to do to fix this? Move out of 4119. I'm listing it February 1st with Kelly. You can rent the guest house here at the ranch for $800 a month until you're back on your feet. One condition. Anything. You get a real job that doesn't involve ring lights or mood boards. You show up to Sunday dinner every single week. You bring Grandma, and you never, ever crop family again. Not for the rest of your life. He nodded so hard I thought his neck would snap. 3 weeks later, the moving trucks came. I watched from my new back porch at 4121 Seneca Ridge, drinking a Shiner Bock while Mason loaded boxes into a U-Haul by himself. Everly wasn't there. She had already moved to Dallas with 8 Louis Vuitton suitcases and both Labradoodles. The content castle sold in 9 days to a crypto couple from Miami for $6.1 million. I cleared $1.4 million after commissions. Mason has been living in the 800-square-foot guest house at the ranch for 10 months now. He got a job at my buddy's HVAC company installing ductwork in 110-degree attics for $52,000 a year. He drives the Tacoma. He pays me $800 every first of the month in cash because he says it feels more honest. Every single Sunday, he and Grandma come for dinner. We cook brisket in the pit I built with my own hands. We watch the Cowboys lose. Sometimes his new girlfriend comes, Lauren, a third-grade teacher from Lockhart who thinks quiet luxury means turning your phone off at the table and passing the potatoes family style. My Airbnb next door is the highest-grossing short-term rental in the entire state of Texas. Guests leave reviews like, Bobby made us gumbo at midnight and told stories about the oil fields. 1210. Finally, a vacation home where nobody tried to make us pose for content. My teenagers said this is the first trip where they felt like a kid again. Everly got remarried in September to a 42-year-old tech CEO who made his money in crypto compliance. The wedding was all beige. Mason went. He wore a navy suit off the rack from Dillard's and sent me a photo of himself standing next to Grandma in the corner of every single frame, uncropped. Last week, Mason handed me an envelope with $1,600 cash. I asked him, "What's this?" Mason said, "First and last month's rent on a one-bedroom in South Austin. Got promoted to crew supervisor yesterday, starting Monday." I tried to hand the envelope back. He wouldn't take it. Mason said, "Dad, you taught me that respect isn't something you inherit with a wire transfer. It's something you earn, one payment, one Sunday dinner, one honest day at a time. I'm starting now." He hugged me longer than he has since he was 12 years old and scared of thunderstorms. So, that's the whole story, start to finish.
How I spent $4.4 million buying a mirror image house next door to my son just to prove a point, and ended up with my boy back. If you've read this far, remember one thing. Real luxury isn't beige. It's flannel. And family isn't something you crop. It's something you keep in the frame. Wrinkles, red shirts, sequin reindeer sweaters, muddy boots and all.